story this evening. The Reserve Bank of India has decided to withdraw the 2,000 rupee denomination banknote from circulation. A circular put out by the RBI earlier this evening says that the exchange can be done by the 30th of September. It can start on the 23rd of May. And after the 23rd of May, if you have 2,000 rupee notes in cash, you can go to your bank, you can exchange them for notes of lower denominations, or you can also deposit them into your bank account. Now, if you want to exchange the notes, the limit is only 20,000 rupees will be exchanged at a time, but there is no limit on depositing the notes in a bank account. For now, the notes remain legal tender as well. Sumit Chaturvedi joining us with more details. Sumit, has there been clarity on why this has been done?
So the government of India is saying that it's under the clean note policy that this measure has been taken. The measure has been taken to withdraw rupees 2,000 currency note from circulation from immediate effect. People can go from May 23rd onwards and can get exchanged from the banks these 2,000 rupees currency notes till September 30 of this year. So essentially, so far from official comment of the government is that it's under the clean note policy because because of which they are withdrawing these currency notes. It's also being said that it's the overall the circulation of these notes has come down drastically since they were issued in 2016. So it's currently 3.6 lakh crore worth, and it's down half from 2016 or 2018 when they were over 6.3 lakh crore. So the idea, government says, is to take them back under the clean note policy. There's no need to panic for the people regarding the same, but it has been said that the people should go to the banks and convert their notes till September of 30 this year. So there was some confusion earlier regarding whether there will be legal tender of these 2,000 after September 30 or not. That's really for a bit of ambiguity issue currently. But yes, till from here on, the rupees 2,000 note will remain a legal tender. That's very clear. So these announcements have been made just a short while ago today.
Okay. You know, another aspect of this, Sumit, is the fact that you have ample time. I think this is important for people to understand that there's no need to panic. This is not a situation where suddenly you can't use your 2,000 rupee notes. You know, it is going to continue to be legal tender. What is the instruction to banks at this point? Have they been told not to issue any more notes?
Well, as far as statutory requirements are concerned, banks will have to take that into account while deposits are being made. Though, as we understand that government will make it easy, RBI will make it easier for people to go and deposit money into bank, though they can only deposit 20,000 rupees worth of these 2,000 currency note at a given point of time. There's no limit on the total amount which they can put into the banks. But the 20,000 limit is for 1 day, and the overall limit is not set at all. We expect RBI to take further steps so that it's going to be easier for people to go and exchange their notes. It's facilitated because government and RBI sources are saying that it's not issued to be panicked by people. That's why all measures will be taken through which people they can go to banks and exchange their rupees 2,000 currency notes. It's not a matter of urgency or panic at all.
You know, another important point of all of this, of course, there's no need for urgency or panic at all. But the reason that has been given, and also how they've pointed out that the amount of 2,000 rupee notes in circulation has been reducing significantly. It has actually gone down from about 6 lakh crore rupees to 3 lakh crore rupees. After September 30th, as these notes are phased out effectively, Sumit, if I understand correctly, your 500 rupee note becomes your greatest or largest denomination?
Well, absolutely, that's correct. Now, it looks like there is nothing now beyond 500 rupees note. After 2,000 rupees note is completely withdrawn, though it will remain a legal tender. But the idea of the government is to now put push 500 rupee note more and more into circulation. 2000 rupee note was brought in November of 2016 when the demo first happened, when 500 rupee note was for the first time withdrawn from the market, and it stopped to be legal tender from that night of November 2016. This time it looks like it's not that exercise, it's not an exercise of panic, it's an exercise which is being done to put more, it's as the government puts it, clear notes into circulation. So yes, we all know that the printing of 2000 rupee note was stopped from long time. It was a matter of time before it could come, but it has happened now, and government has now, RBI in fact has come now with a notification saying that rupees 2000 note will be withdrawn.
Prakash, Priyadarshi is with me as well. Thank you for that, Sumit. I'm also joined by R. Gandhi on the show right now to just get a sense of what we're seeing. R. Gandhi is former RBI Deputy Governor. Mr. Gandhi, thank you so much for speaking with us this evening on ET Now as we're trying to break down the big news stories coming in. So what we know for sure is that this is not demonetization. I mentioned that because in India, whenever notes go out of circulation, everyone remembers 2016. So we know it's not demonetization. What is it though? What does this achieve?
Okay. Reserve Bank periodically withdraws World Series notes. That is normal. Okay. So that typically it used to do by telling the banks only to withdraw the World Series notes. Sometimes Reserve Bank has given public notices like this also, to inform the public to return the World Series notes. So that is that way. This time also it has issued such notice. That is number one. But the difference between other times and today is that here there is a upper limit on how much cash you can deposit back with the Reserve Bank at one point, as one transaction. So that's a difference between earlier time and this time. Secondly, earlier times for when such withdrawal takes place, the same series notes, same denomination used to be reissued. Here, Reserve Bank has clearly said that the same denomination, that is 2000 denomination, is not going to be reissued. These are the two differences in the earlier withdrawals and the current proposal. Otherwise, as you said, it is not demonetization. People can still transact in using this, or they can return back to the banks and get the full value thereof.
The question over here, Mr. Gandhi, which is still not clear, of course, they've said that this will continue as legal tender. What happens after 30th September? And when, just if I can add, sir, please. And when you say that you have to, you're phasing it out, isn't it likely that practically if you go out in the market with a 2000 rupee note, there will be hesitation to accept it?
Okay, two things. First, after 30th September, what happens? This particular notification doesn't say anything about it. So yeah, people can imagine too many things, but I won't like to hazard a guess there. Rather, I would like Reserve Bank wait for Reserve Bank's further communication on it near about that date. That's number one, the answer to the first question. The second question, yes, people reaction could always be upon how risk averse they are, or what kind of sometime due to misinformation or not understanding the instruction properly, people can behave differently. That's a thing which we have to take in our own stride. The point is that if you are unable to transact, the transact means that you are unable to use it for getting a transaction with another person or business, but you can always return it to the bank and to get the value thereof. So that's why it is not that just because another person is not wanting to accept 2000 rupee denomination hereafter doesn't mean that you lose value. You can still come back to the bank and return the currency. So that way it is not a total problem or anything. Yes, some people, as I said, either because of misinformation or extreme caution, they may not be ready to accept the 2000 rupee denomination.
I request you to please stay on with us, Mr. R. Gandhi. We want to discuss more on this, and it's been such a huge news day, so request you to stay on with us for a few minutes more. Tamal Bandyopadhyay is also with us on the show. I want to just get his take on how he sees this. Tamal, is it only because of the clean note policy that these notes after 5 years, should be phased out? Is it business as usual, or is there more to this, considering that effectively your highest denomination note drops significantly in value? it will also have the effect of reducing the amount of cash in the system, will make it more difficult to hoard illicit cash, isn't it?
Yeah, Tamanna, I think you got it right. Yes, probably there is a trend of hoarding through this high denomination notes. So in that case, it's a flush out exercise. And as the RBI release said, that from 6.73 trillion, it has come down to 3.62 trillion, just about 10% of the currency in circulation. So it's not a big shock. I mean, it's not a shock. Let's not create panic about it. But I have only one issue about that. The window that has been created, which is essentially starts now in the next few days and till September 30th. Now, so this 4 months, if anybody has this money, they can go to the bank, and every time only 10. That's the case. Now, after 4 months, suppose somebody is gone on a holiday. In US, typically you can stay for 6 months with your children, something. You're coming back after 6 months. What happens? What happens to that? Isn't it a legal tender? Doesn't every note say that I promise to pay the bearer the amount of the sum of, etc., etc.? So in other countries, particularly in UK, when such exercises, it does often happen, a particular currency has been withdrawn, but then there is no time limit. At any given point of time, it could be even 10 years down the line, a bank is bound to take the note back because it's a legal tender. So by keeping the window open for just with a restricted amount of time, I would like to believe that we are then why do we call it a legal tender? So that's the limited point I'm making. Otherwise, it's not a shock.
It's an important point, frankly, because we don't know yet what happens after September 30th. In fact, Prakash, my colleague Prakash Priyadarshi on the phone line with us with some breaking news and source-based news on this very question. Prakash, is there clarity? What happens after September 30th? We know 4 months is a lot of time. There is no panic. It's legal tender till then. You can go to the bank. You can exchange. But what happens after September 30th? In a case like Tamal explained, some people might, be abroad for a long time, come back after 6 months, will have these notes with them. Then what?
Yes, sources in the RBI are informing that rupees 2,000 notes will not be in circulation after September 30. That is clear. But people are encouraged to deposit rupees 2,000 notes on or before September 30. RBI is expecting that a 4-month time is enough for people to exchange or deposit notes with the banks. Most of the rupees 2,000 notes that are in circulation return back within a given time frame that the RBI is believing. But the sources are also informing that, as mentioned in the order, rupees 2,000 notes will continue as legal tender even after September 30. So there is nothing to the public to be panicked because the rupees 2,000 notes will continue as a legal tender. However, final decision will be taken after assessing ground situation as to how many notes return back to the system, also the time frame that has been announced today. So that is something that will be decided after some time. And if you go with the RBI data, as per the data, rupees 2,000 notes constitute just rupees 3.62 lakh crore or 10.8% of overall notes in circulation as on March 2023. So RBI believes most of the notes will be brought back to this, into the system till September 30, but it will continue as a legal tender. So there is nothing to the common public to be panicked because these notes will continue as a legal tender.
After September 30th, what happens remains to be seen. It will also depend, as for the information we have right now, as Prakash is reporting, it remains to be seen. It will depend also on how much of these notes come back into the system. So that's the point, limited point. As of today, nothing to panic. Use the notes, go out, shop with it, deposit in your bank, no limit to how much you can deposit. If you want to exchange it for a smaller denomination, then you can do 20,000 rupees, which is 10 notes at a time. We'll be following the story. I want to thank Bandyopadhyay for joining us on this, Sumit, my colleague, as well as Prakash. But I'm requesting our Gandhi to stay because there's another very important development this evening that I want his view on. I think Sumit will also stay with me on that. So